48 teams, 104 matches, the most competitive World Cup in history. But when the final whistle blows, history won't remember the statistics. It will remember the moments, and moments belong to the players brave enough to seize them. Every 4 years, the World Cup doesn't just crown a champion, it builds legends, it produces images burned into football forever, images that a generation carries for the rest of their lives. 2026 will be no different. These are the 10 players who could make this tournament unforgettable. Number 10, Jude Bellingham. England haven't won the World Cup since 1966. That's 60 years of heartbreak, 60 years of hope extinguished at the worst possible moments. Penalty shootouts, last-minute goals, tournaments that felt like they were finally different until they weren't. Jude Bellingham can't erase that history, but he might finally be the player who ends it. At 22, he already plays with a composure that most footballers spend a decade trying to develop. Real Madrid didn't just teach him how to win. They taught him how to win when the entire world is watching. England have had brilliant players before. What they've consistently lacked is someone who rises when the pressure peaks. Bellingham might be different, and 2026 is where we find out. Number 9, Pedri. There were moments not long ago when we thought Pedri might never truly fulfill his potential. Injury after injury, season after season interrupted, the same question repeating itself like a bad dream. Can he stay fit? Now we have the answer, and it's devastating for every team at this tournament. When Pedri plays, Spain don't just control matches. They suffocate them. His passing is instinctive. His positioning is immaculate. His ability to slow the game down while everyone around him is panicking is almost supernatural. A fully fit Pedri is Spain's most dangerous weapon. Right now, he's fit. Number 8. Erling Haaland. At club level, Erling Haaland has already broken football. Goals at a rate that statistically shouldn't be possible. Records that experts said would stand for decades, falling within months. But the World Cup asks a different question. On the international stage, every opponent prepares specifically for you. There are no easy defenses, no average goalkeepers to punish. Every single team has watched every single goal. We know exactly what Haaland does against club football's best. The 2026 World Cup will finally reveal whether he can replicate it when the stakes are absolute. That answer might define his entire legacy. Number 7, Vinícius Júnior. Brazil haven't won the World Cup since 2002. For a country where football isn't just sport, it's national identity. That drought carries a weight most nations would never understand. Vinícius Júnior carries that weight every time he steps on the pitch. He is the most explosive attacking player in the world right now. His ability to turn a match in a single second, to make defenders look helpless who've spent weeks specifically preparing to stop him. To score goals from angles that shouldn't exist. That kind of talent only arrives once or twice in a generation. Brazil desperately need him, and this time, he's ready to deliver. Number 6, Harry Kane. Harry Kane has broken almost every record England has to offer. He's scored more international goals than any English player in history. He has dominated one of the world's most competitive leagues for a decade. He has led Bayern Munich with the kind of ruthless efficiency that earns respect across an entire continent. But one achievement. At 32, the 2026 World Cup may be his final real opportunity to silence the debate. Few strikers in World Cup history have been as complete as Kane. The question was never whether he was good enough. It was whether England were. Number 5, Julián Álvarez. Most players who play alongside Lionel Messi spend their careers in his shadow. Julián Álvarez walked straight into the light. In the 2022 World Cup final, the greatest, most dramatic final this tournament has produced in the modern era, Álvarez scored. He pressed relentlessly. He ran channels for 120 minutes. He was everything Argentina needed in the highest pressure match of his generation. Now Messi approaches the end. Argentina can no longer depend on him the way they once did. Álvarez doesn't just understand that. He's been preparing for it his entire career. By 2026, he won't be Messi's supporting act. He'll be carrying Argentina himself. Number 4, Bruno Fernandes. Portugal have produced generation after generation of exceptional footballers. Figo, Ronaldo, and now Fernandes. But for all that talent, Portugal have never won the World Cup. They've produced some of football's most gifted individuals and somehow always fallen short of the ultimate prize. Bruno Fernandes is the architect of almost everything good that happens when Portugal attack. His passing range is elite. His vision cuts through organized defenses. His long-range shooting has a habit of deciding matches nobody expected him to decide. 2026 is one of Portugal's strongest squads in years. If they finally deliver, if they finally become something more than a tournament that ends in quiet disappointment, Fernandes will be the reason why. Number 3. Lamine Yamal. Stop and consider this for a moment. Lamine Yamal was not born when the 2010 World Cup was played. By 2026, he'll be 18 years old and already one of the most watched, most analyzed, most talked about footballers on the planet. His confidence on the ball is otherworldly. His ability to create from nothing, to decide matches, to perform on the biggest stages without visible fear. It shouldn't exist at his age. It barely exists in players twice his age. The World Cup has always introduced the sport's next superstar to a global audience. Yamal doesn't need an introduction. He's already here. Number 2. Kylian Mbappé. No player in world football performs under World Cup pressure quite like Kylian Mbappé. He won it in 2018. He starred in the most extraordinary World Cup final of the modern era in 2022, scoring a hat trick in the last 20 minutes to force extra time in football's most dramatic conclusion. He has produced performances that have already placed him in conversation with the greatest tournament players of all time. His pace is still unmatched. His finishing, clinical. And unlike almost every other player on this list, he already knows exactly what winning a World Cup feels like. That experience is worth more than people realize. Another defining tournament wouldn't just add to Mbappé's legacy. It would place him in football history's most exclusive company. Number 1. Lionel Messi. Some will argue that Messi's World Cup story ended in Qatar. The 2022 was the perfect conclusion, the final chapter of the greatest career football has ever seen. The last piece of the puzzle delivered in the most dramatic way imaginable. Maybe they're right. But if Messi takes the field in 2026, something extraordinary will happen, something no statistic and no preview article can fully capture. Every touch will carry the weight of everything he has already achieved. Every pass will remind the world why billions of people fell in love with this sport. Every goal, if he scores one, may be the last time we ever see the greatest footballer who ever lived score on football's biggest stage. Wins and losses won't fully explain why people stop what they're doing to watch. They'll watch because they already know, they feel it, that what they're seeing cannot last forever. And sometimes that is the most powerful story a sport can tell. The 2026 World Cup will be the largest sporting event in human history. 48 nations, 104 matches, billions watching. But it won't be remembered in numbers. It will be remembered in moments. In the goal nobody saw coming, in the performance that silenced an entire stadium, in that single frozen image that ends up on walls and in highlight reels for the next 50 years. These 10 players have the talent, the stage, and the chance to create those moments. Now, we wait. Which player do you think will define 2026? Drop your prediction in the comments below. And if you want more football content like this, subscribe. More World Cup documentaries are on the way.